My name is Nina, and when I was in high school, I pretended to be a music journalist. Hello there. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Nina. It is so great to see you today. You look amazing. Oh my god. I feel like over the past few weeks, I just have been in a funk. I've had some different life changes happen. The inauguration just happened, which is so fun and special. Basically, I've sort of been going through my own weird emotional stuff recently. At the time being, I feel a little bit depleted. I still wanted to film something, and I've been thinking for a while about doing almost like a story time style video, talking about my experiences, trying to kind of fake my way into the music industry when I was a teenager, because I have kind of lived a life. It was a wild ride. I was like this little teeny bopper who was obsessed with reading alternative press and My Chemical Romance fan fiction and just wanted to be part of this world so bad. And so I did it. I was like, how can I provide the kind of content that I love to read while also having like a fun little adventure? My little almost famous experience. So here we go. So my first foray into kind of the music industry world was when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. I had a punk band with my friends at the time. It kind of dissolved because of petty high school drama. And I was missing the thrill of being part of the music scene around me. And I guess at that point I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be a musician, I guess. I mean, basically when you're fighting with your best friends and your best friends are the people you play music with, you gotta just give up forever. What else can you do? So around the time that my band broke up and I started thinking about other avenues into music, I started my own little WordPress website called Golden Audio. Don't know where that came from, and I bought the domain name and everything, holy shit. So I had this website that had nothing on it. It was clearly made with WordPress. It didn't look like a good website. Basically, I was like, all right, this band Candy Hearts is coming to town. This is a good opportunity to try to get some traction with the website thing, because as long as I have nothing on there, nothing is gonna happen because it doesn't look legit. And I knew that going in, that it looked like shit. I looked up the band on Facebook. I found the press contact and I sent her this email that was so pathetic. That was basically like, hello, my name is Nina. I'm a music journalist. I have a website called Golden Audio. I would love the chance to interview Candy Hearts. I know that my website is just starting out and there's not much there, but I would so appreciate this opportunity. Please give me this, basically on my hands and knees to this press woman. And I think that it was just the right combination of they didn't have anyone else doing press that night. The band was on the up and up, but not big. Also, it was this tiny venue. She emailed me back, I couldn't believe it, and she said, all right, show up at this time, we'll put your name on the list. I was losing my entire mind. I was like, okay. It was incredible, but I was also now this is actually happening. And I had no fucking experience with this other than just loving to read articles in alternative press, as we have said.
I put up that screenshot to clown on them, but just in case you were wondering.
And just having a genuine passion for the music. And so I worked my little ass off coming up with these questions, to the point where I had multiple pages of questions that I wanted to ask the lead singer. And I wasn't sure. I was like, it will look so unprofessional if I come in with a list. If I'm looking at a list, I can't do that. I have to memorize them. And so I tried to memorize all the questions, and then I also I printed out multiple copies of the list as a safety blanket, I guess, but I also took the copies and I highlighted key words, so if I did have to glance at it, I could just jog my memory. I just was overly prepared. I was in survival mode. I also learned a very valuable lesson this day. In the music industry, when an artist has to be somewhere, they will usually be at least a half hour late, so you have to be prepared to kind of go with the flow. Because I show up, the lead singer is just not getting back to me, and then she does, and then she's like, well, we're out getting food, then we're gonna, do this, and we keep going back and forth, and she just keeps pushing it and pushing it, so I'm like, okay, then the show starts. And I eventually get a hold of her right after their set, and I meet her up in this it was on the second floor above the stage in this tiny hallway. We weren't even in a room, people were stepping over us this whole time. And I finally got to interview her. I had a tiny little digital recorder thing. It was a really great experience because it was so much more like a conversation. And I think that my little insane survivalist brain with the whole, like, if I'm looking at a list, like I can't do that. It's like, that was actually super helpful for me because it did make it flow better. It was a really like surreal moment too, because that was the first time I was ever like, not only is this person who I really admire standing in front of me, but also like having a genuine conversation. I was also thinking about like how I would put this up on my website, and I was like, I need some sick ass pictures, but I am not a photographer. I had this little like Urban Outfitters ass like Polaroid camera, and I was like, we're gonna get crafty with this. It's gonna look sick as hell. It was cool because the venue that we were in, on the second floor, there was like a thrift shop built into the venue. After the interview was done, I was like, all right, girl, would it be cool if I took some pictures of you walking around the thrift store? Like, let's just thrift together and I'll just like photograph it. We just got to hang out and rifle through racks and try on like funny hats. It was like one of those like 90s movie montages, like, that looks great. Oh no. I also will like insert the pictures here. But I would say that the most exciting part of this particular night actually happened after. So that night, Candy Hearts was opening for the band Set It Off, who were big, like, kind of alternative scene up-and-comers at the time. There was a lot of buzz around them, a lot of buzz about the lead singer, Cody Carson. And so he was there. And I didn't know that much about Set It Off. I got to see a little bit of Set It Off set. I was like, this fucks. And then later on, I was upstairs in that area again, where there was the thrift shop. There were also some little arcade games and stuff like that. And then there was the hallway that led to the back area. And so I was chilling in that area, going over my recording, my photos, making sure everything was good. Like post interview, I was like kind of riding this adrenaline high from this experience. It was like right near where the door is, where all the bands are coming in and out. And so Cody Carson comes out, and I don't know what came over me, but I think it was that adrenaline. And I was just like, I'm a music journalist. I was kind of just like, hey, I'm a music journalist. What did I say? I think I was just like, hey, I love your band. I write for this website called Golden Audio. I would love to ask you a few questions if you have any time at all. And he was just like, yeah. He was like, okay, sick. And it was so unexpected and crazy, but he was just down. We ended up playing arcade games, and all the while I was asking him questions. But this was like, I was not prepared in the slightest. Not only did I not come up with questions beforehand for him, I didn't have shit prepared for this. I kind of just had to improv. And I think going off of what worked and what didn't work in my conversation that I had had earlier in the night, it was great because it really was a conversation. And I will admit, like, it's not like I was asking these like academic level questions to him. It was fun, and he was so down. And I could also take what I had witnessed earlier during their set, like what stood out to me, ask them questions about that. It was like my brain went into like limitless mode. Like usually my brain is like a pile of mush and I don't know. You ever look back on things you did in high school and you're like, how the fuck did I do that? Because I am like a human trash can at this point. Where was I? So yeah, I asked him the questions. We hung out a little bit. I took like a single photo of him. It was such a cool night. He completely had the right to just be like, no, I just played a huge set. I'm so exhausted, get away from me. But he was so sweet and generous. So I don't know, everything just aligned. I have this vivid memory of driving home from the show and stopping to get McDonald's because no one could tell me I couldn't. And just listening to music and vibing the fuck out and having my like, in that moment, I knew we were infinite vibe. And yeah, that was that. I was like, okay, here we go. After that, I had not one, but two features that I could print on my website. Features that I could publish on my website. I felt like that definitely emboldened me, and it made me feel like I had some kind of legitimacy to what I was doing. So anyway, that's the story of how sort of the ball got rolling on me finagling my way into music backstage situations. Just a rundown of some other notable stories. There was this time when the band Neon Trees was going to play in New Haven. So basically, I kind of like tried to pull the right strings to be able to talk to Neon Trees themselves. They're very busy. They were definitely like really big at that time. They were playing in a much bigger venue. So I got in touch with the press people for this band Fictionist, who are a really cool kind of indie rock band. And I will say that was one of the most fun interviews I think I've ever done. They were the sweetest people. I was not only in there with like the lead singer or, you know, one person from the band, but it was the whole band sitting in this backstage room. I had really like gotten into their music as I'd been researching it, and they were such bros, and I really appreciated them like making me feel welcome and taking me seriously, because I was this like little ass girl. I felt lucky if anyone took me seriously. I got a cute little picture with them that I will insert here. So kind of the cherry on top of this story is just that this was a big venue, right? Like it had all the like winding tunnels in the back and different doors. It was like a confusing building to navigate. When the interview was over, we like said our goodbyes and they were like, all right, just go out of the hallway and, you know, turn right and whatever, you'll be there. But there were so many doors. I was definitely having that adrenaline high feeling after I talked to a band and I got super lost. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick the biggest door because that makes sense. It just works. And it turned out to be the doors to the stage. It was the doors to the stage. Like luckily it wasn't a stage where like literally it's like boop, like you're in the spotlight now. It was like a big stage where the part where the band was playing was like in the front of this big platform. And I was just kind of like off to the side. I was like in the wings or whatever, but like Neon Trees was playing right there. But I was like, I'm not gonna leave. Not now. Just kind of stood side stage and no one said anything to me and I was able to enjoy the show from there, which was like such a fucking surreal moment. Oh my god. Neon Trees fucked back then, fucks today. Anyway, then moving forward, this was perhaps one of the biggest moments in my life. Probably like the most special, important interview I've ever done. And what I'm referring to is that I finagled my way into an interview with Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance. I did. I don't fucking know how. My Chemical Romance is my favorite band of all time. Yeah, it was absolutely everything to me. So when I was a freshman in college, I just continued to keep my eye out for any show that was happening in my area, especially for bands that I already like loved, because that's the cherry on top of an interviewing experience. So Frank, he was touring with Frank Iero and The Celebration at the time, and they had a show in New Jersey at the Stone Pony. All the members of My Chemical Romance are from New Jersey originally. So also like my little heart had these hopes that like, oh my god, what if Gerard is there? What if Mikey shows up and he's just like in the crowd? New Jersey, like that's just a special place for them to play. So Frank's band was playing there and I had to sleuth the shit out of this to suss out who his press person was, any contact information, and I ended up going through his old press releases with that specific band. When their press person would announce a new album or a new tour or whatever, there would be like an official press release for that. I went through as many as I could find until I found one that had at the bottom like the press contact information. It was like a fucking shot in the dark. Like I 100% did not expect to hear back from her, but I was like, if I don't at least try, I'm not gonna forgive myself. So I sent an email to this lady, you know, gave her my whole spiel. I would be so honored to be able to interview Frank. Here's the times that I'm free, like whatever, we could even do it over the phone, like anything. Like literally give me crumbs. I think probably like a week or so went by without hearing anything. And I was like, that's cool. You know what? I tried. And then I get an email back one day and she's just like, Frank would be available to be interviewed these times and like whatever. And here, like we can put you on the list. And I was like, thought I was losing my damn mind. Then I went into like panic mode. Okay, now that I am doing this, everything about it has to be perfect. If this did not go perfect, it was gonna be the worst day of my life. Because I would be like, how could you bungle this? So I'm like, all right, gotta get my ass to New Jersey somehow, I guess. At the time I was going to college in Massachusetts. I had this friend from high school and her roommate was from New Jersey. So she was like, I have a car, my roommate has a place for us to stay, and we could totally make this work. And I was like, okay. We take this road trip to New Jersey. I have all of my stuff. I have never before at this point filmed an interview because I did not know how. I usually had my tiny little recorder, like I said, and my list of questions, and that's it. But I brought full gear. I like took one of my parents' little point and shoot like digital cameras, and like I got a little tripod from Walmart, and I was like, we're gonna make this work because if there's anything that I want to be cemented in my memory until I perish, it is this. When we got in, Frank was already at his merch table. There was a line of people waiting to meet him at the merch table. And I was kind of communicating with the contact that I was given for the night. They were like, okay, he's busy signing right now. Maybe let's wait until after the show. The show goes on. It's amazing. After the show, I make my way to the merch table. He's there and he's signing again, and his merch person is like, all right, he's gonna be here signing until every single person has been met. If you want, you can just come chill behind the merch table until he's done. I was like, okay. He's sitting at his merch table doing a signing. I am just like behind him at the merch table holding my freaking like awkward long tripod and all my stuff, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what am I doing here? Just kind of watching everything go on. At that moment, I thought that like my stomach was gonna explode. Like it was the butterfly situation was so hard to handle, because I was like, not only is this going to happen, but I have to sit here in the anticipation, feet away from him, and just like think in my head, like, don't throw up, you're gonna do fine, it's gonna be great. Like I couldn't like launch into it right away. I just had to think about it, and that was a little bit of a challenge, but it was also like fucking amazing. I just, you know, it was a lot for like little me to handle. Eventually he finishes up. The club has like emptied at this point. It's just people tearing down all the stuff on the stage, all the gear and stuff. So I meet him officially, and yeah, we do this like sit down interview. This was not happening like during the show, like I said, but it was so fucking loud for some reason. The whole post-show process was happening around us because we were just sitting in the middle of it. They like pulled up 2 chairs. Not only was the visual quality of the video so bad, it was like grainy and dark because we didn't bring any kind of a light with us, and it was a dark ass club, but also the sound was atrocious.
It didn't feel like, oh no, like this is very because this is what I do. Yeah. So I guess I felt at home in that.
Indecipherable, basically.
There's no cheeses like they had like a sure like this. They do have mustard? No.
You can see me sitting in this chair facing him, and I have my little hands kind of like this, and I have a wrist full of like hair ties, and I'm just like, you can see me fidgeting so hard because I'm losing my mind, but I'm trying to act cool. I'm like, yeah, that's so interesting. That's so amazing. The video itself is currently on this YouTube channel if you want to go watch it, but I got roasted really hard after I posted it. A lot of people being like, the irony of the fact that this channel is called Golden Audio, but the audio is absolute garbage. I'm very, very happy that we filmed it anyway, because even though the quality is ass, I get to keep that memory forever. I get to like relive it. And then after the interview, I had my trademark little Urban Outfitters Polaroid camera. Yeah, then we kind of said our goodbyes and parted into the night. I was in another world. I was on cloud 9.
Also, the thrill of my young life was when Frank retweeted the interview, and I had never gotten so many notifications in my life, and I was freaking out. It was just the perfect little end cap to this story.
Yeah, so that was that story. Still one of my favorite memories to this day, because I think especially thinking about high school me, it's like that's what I think about during all these experiences. Even today, high school me would have lost her damn mind. And I think that's super trippy and rewarding. I don't know, just thinking about younger me putting up her like MCR posters and having this shit happen was wild. Now we have arrived at the Mod Sun chapter of this story, and I see none other than Trace Cyrus. I was like, if I can get through this and do like 10 interviews in a day all on the fly, like, you know, I was like, let's go. And the fact that they had to give us a warning before the show started made my heart like drop.